الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير الخلق محمد خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين. Welcome to In the Shade of Ramadan. The episode for today is about an important topic in our lives, and that is the physical fitness of the Muslim. And when we talk about physical fitness, we need to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, and He's mentioned to us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that He has created man in the best form. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions فِي أَيِّ سُورَةٍ مَا شَاءَ رَكَّبَكَ, that He has created us in the fashion that He wills for us. So we need to remember that our own bodies and our own creation in the form that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us, that's a mandate from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's a trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen the ideal composition and construction of the body, and it's not up to us to change that through our own lack of effort in maintaining our bodies. The Prophet ﷺ has mentioned to us that our bodies have a right upon us, that the body is a trust that we don't actually have dominion on. And this is a very difficult concept to understand and grasp and wrap our minds around, that our own selves, our own bodies are not our possession, and that we don't have the right to do with them what we want. But it's very important that we understand this fact, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted our bodies to us. And when we look at in the medical world, some of the high rates of incidence of diseases that are completely preventable through taking care of our bodies, we would get very sad. This is the case in non-Muslim and among Muslim people as well, that there are several areas where through lack of care of the body, a lot of medical problems are happening. The first area of these has to do with diet. SubhanAllah, we know that obesity is a major problem, especially in America, and coronary disease of many sorts, and things such as unmanaged diabetes are almost completely related to our inappropriate diets and our failing to take care of our bodies. The first point that our beloved Prophet ﷺ has something to say about is the quantity of food that we eat. The Prophet ﷺ says that the son of Adam needs only a few bites to survive, and that if we were to take more food than that, then our limits are that 1/3 of our capacity should be for food, 1/3 of our capacity should be for drinking, and that another third of the capacity would be left empty so that we would be comfortable and breathing. So that's the first point, which is the quantity of the food that we eat. The second point is the composition of the food that we eat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, O you who believe, eat of the good things which we have provided to you, at-tayyibat. And subhanAllah, we see so many of the things that we eat, particularly without mentioning specifically some of the fast food and other things, cannot be described as the tayyibat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the good things which He has ordered us to eat from. So the two points are the quantities that we eat. The Prophet ﷺ has given us advice about this, and the composition of what we eat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself has given us advice about this in the Quran. So the first category of preventable diseases has to do with diet. The second category of preventable diseases have to do with the ill habits of many people, of which we as Muslims unfortunately are not immune from. Some of these bad habits are the things such as smoking, cigarettes and water pipes, and other such things which are very harmful. And some of the things which are very explicitly haram, such as taking drugs or alcohol. And some of the ill medical effects of these can be lung cancer and emphysema and many other complications that arise from these negative and bad habits. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us that there are two blessings that many people do wrong by, and those things are health and free time. And what we're focusing on is our health, and it's very strongly the case that destroying our health through smoking and other things is a very serious wrong on the blessing of health that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. The third category of preventable diseases that are common these days are related to environment and what we've done with the environment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Things related to respiratory illness that comes from the smog that we've put into the atmosphere. Things like cancer that comes from the radiation that we're pumping into the atmosphere as well. The Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that removing anything harmful from the path of others is a form of charity. And I can't help but think that the smog and the radiation and the other things that are harmful to the health of people, that those would be in the sadaqah that's mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ. Understanding all of these factors that contribute to a healthy body, it's important to remember that we have a great example in the Prophet ﷺ, that he has told us that the physically strong mu'min is greater or better than the physically weak mu'min, and there's good from everyone. We should remember that the Prophet ﷺ instructs us and wants us to be physically capable and physically able to take on the message of Islam. And the next part of the example of the Prophet ﷺ is that he himself partook in and encouraged exercise, regular exercise among the companions. We unfortunately live in a very sedentary, high-tech lifestyle which keeps us from exercising on a regular basis. But the Prophet ﷺ, even through all the busyness of the mission of Islam, he used to encourage racing between the companions, and he used to encourage them to exercise. That's an example that we need to remember and we need to follow much more strongly. And a point for some of the older brothers and sisters perhaps is that we should remember that the Prophet ﷺ, when he beat his wife Aisha in the race when she was 18 years old, the Prophet ﷺ was about 60 years old. Subhanallah, the way he kept himself in physically good condition until the very end of his life. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us that there is nothing better given to us than our iman. The best thing that's given to us is our iman, and after that is our good health. We need to remember this blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us and make sure to do right by the blessing of good health that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put only second to our belief in Him. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.